I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
We have great fans. I want to thank them for being here. So it's a great night for Nebraska.
The Nebraska Democratic Party is not going to have a sort of, burning bush moment where everything gets turned around in one election. That doesn't happen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Mac McCoy, and welcome to this week's edition of Point Counterpoint. On my panel today, as always, we have Dorsey, we have Steve, we have Larry, and we have our new, he kind of crashes the party. Like you show up like a wedding and you crash the wedding.
Buzz is the word you're looking for.
What's the word I'm looking for?
Buzzkill.
Buzzkill, okay. For those of you that have listened to me for years, you'll recognize Frank. We used to call him The Voice, and he was a co-host of mine for many years. And as long as the guys are okay with you, Frank, you're going to be able to come on. But, boy, the minute one of these guys says and I don't want him here anymore, you're gone. You're in the unemployment line, okay?
10-4.
Hey, Frank, don't forget to send me that $5 every week.
Okay.
Hey, Frank's very handy. So if you need something fixed at your house, you'll have to pay him for gas, but he's very good at handy. And something I just want to add, I hope it's okay. Frank is an exceptional son. He's been taking care of his mother. They live in the same place for many, many years. And the love and care that he has given his mother is, in my opinion, his most outstanding trait as a human being. He is a wonderful, wonderful son. Okay, so it's the 6th day of February. We're going to start with what is top of mind awareness right now, and that is the abduction of Nancy Guthrie. And as of this point, and I think I'm okay to say 10 o'clock on this Friday, nothing's really changed since they found the blood spatter. They didn't find forced entry, and they have some clues that they're not discussing openly that were mentioned in a ransom note that was sent to not only TLX or whatever that thing is, and also the local TV stations. So that's where it is right now. And one of the things they've been able to do is confirm that whoever sent the ransom note shared some information that only that person would know, and it had to do with an Apple Watch. And they told them where the Apple Watch was, her Apple Watch. They are now, and this is the genius of today's technology, they're now able to go in and find all the cell signals that pinged that Sunday morning when she disappeared, or Saturday night, and they're beginning to trace that back. And I don't know if I know you know this technology, but they can go back now that they have that cell signal of someone else that was in the house. I guess they can go back for as long as that phone's been in place. So that's the way they found that one bomber who put those bombs in front of the Republican and the Democratic thing in Washington. I mean, it was 6 months later, and they found him because of that. So, Dorsey, I'll let you begin with your thoughts on this tragic event of the Guthrie family.
Well, I guess the only thing I really on this, I think, speaks volumes on his character for the most part. I mean, we all know he's a lunatic sometimes. I'm not going to take away from that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he really could have been a poor, nasty human being on this.
Buck and Clay, who took, what's his name's place? Help me, Larry. The longtime talk show host.
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I listened to them, and they're both ex-CIA. And one of them said that they think the president got involved because they are not sure that Mrs. Guthrie was taken out of the country. They're so close to Mexico down there. And they think that's why he got involved, so he could authorize FBI and whoever it was to go down into Mexico, because the lady president of Mexico has said, no, you don't come in my country. And so I think that's why he stepped in. So it's actually a bigger compliment than you gave him. Not only is he being kind, but I think he's using the resources that we have to maybe step where some people would say is out of bounds, and that's out of this country.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah. And one of the guys on Clay and Buck made the comment that it is not hard to get into Mexico.
No, not at all.
It's really hard to get out.
Yes, it is.
And that's why they think they may have taken her to Mexico, because they can't just let her go and she'll leave.
Right.
So anyway. All right, Steve, your thoughts on this?
Well, I'd like to think that the president's actions were altruistic, but based upon his track record, I tend to think that most anything that he does in life has ulterior motives. It's yet to be seen if his actions are truly for just being a good person. Great, kudos to him. I think what's more interesting, and you brought that up earlier, is this digital and technological forensics. Much like blood, the fact that they can, someone, I think, dumb enough to take a phone in that can be pinged and present a trail of evidence like fingerprints. This is going to be interesting to see how they work this case.
Well, and the other thing I forgot to mention, and I have a pacemaker, so I have a thing that's sitting next to my bed. And as long as I'm in the house or within a certain amount of feet of my house, that thing is picking up what my pacemaker is sending out. And they know the exact time that she left the house.
Yes.
Because that unit stopped recording what was going on her pacemaker.
Well,
1:17 a.m.
1:17 a.m., okay.
Well, I thought they had said that the software had been shut off, not that she had walked away from it.
Oh, that could be.
They did say that.
Okay.
So somebody knew how to disconnect the application from her pacemaker.
Yeah, and see that takes a lot of smarts.
I think it's relatives. I think a relative has done it.
Yeah, I hate to agree. I don't know. All right, Larry, your wisdom, please.
Well, the Department of Justice has, in the FBI and in the DOJ IG's office, have teams at each field location called the ETs. Now, it doesn't stand for extraterrestrial, much to my dismay, but it is extraterritorial.
Okay.
And those agents can regularly go into other countries and do their work, even to the point of putting the grab on somebody and pulling them back through into the United States.
Yes.
So they actually have a great deal of mobility. A friend of mine and I, with the DOJ, went into Mexico, and we had to leave our weapons in the car on the American side and walk in. Getting in was absolutely no problem, as you say. Getting out, we had to go through the custom on both sides. But it's they're close to the border down there, and I agree with you and Dorsey. I think that very likely this is somebody in the family. They knew the house codes. They knew how to disconnect the backyard lights. I can't believe the family didn't have a subscription. We've got a security system, and it's all on hard drive and then sent to the cloud. So
yeah, and apparently they did not have the Ring
subscription.
Subscription.
Yeah.
So they could see it live, but it's not recorded.
Yes. In our house, we can see everything live, of course. We don't have Ring. We do have, as I say, our own security system, and it's recorded on a hard drive here and then sent to the cloud as well. So I'm surprised somebody didn't do a better job of consulting on that.
Hey, Larry, just in the theme of if something would ever happen to you and your wife, and it's just the two of us right now, could you give me the code for your security, please?
Oh yeah, it's absolutely. If you put it on a phone, it says "bugger off."
All right, Frank, to you.
I don't have a lot to add to it. I did hear something about some blood on a porch.
Yes.
I did read something that said they thought that was the daughter, Savannah's.
No, that was the mother's.
The mothers. They think
Oh, it was mother's?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they also found it inside the house, but apparently it wasn't. It wasn't like a crime scene sometimes you see on TV with blood all over the place.
Right.
But whatever caused her to bleed happened inside the house also. The other thing that's been interesting about that is that there is no medication missing. And they thought that if it was inside, one of the things that tells them maybe it's not inside because they didn't take her medication. And someone who knew her would say, well, if we want her to stick around and we want to get paid off, then we need to take her heart medication. And apparently it was not removed with her. So it's quite a deal, you know. When I sit there and I watch TV and I hear some of these people talking about this, I imagine their wheels just turning that this could be me. You know, this could be me, that somebody comes in and abducts my daughter or my children or my wife or my husband or whatever. Let's hope this comes to a conclusion, and a good conclusion.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Stolen land. I'm going to love this. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm just giggling. I am. You know, I pride myself on being a Christian.
Yeah, but sometimes you leave it at the door.
I do. And this is one of those times. I have given up watching any kind of award show in Hollywood since my 20s because it's just self-aggrandizement. And in my opinion, that whole culture does nothing but debase people. And so I didn't watch the Grammys.
Okay. But you know what Billy English said.
Yeah. So what I was getting to was that, you know, they're showing the highlights on all of the news reports. And of course, you know, I have a huge problem with people who pontificate about ICE and all of that as they live in their gated communities and have multi-million-dollar security bills because they got people following them around.
Yep.
So when it came out that she said that, and, you know, everybody was in there clapping and everything, and my stomach just went, ugh, okay. Then I found out what the Indian tribe said, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was listening to it because I wanted to make sure that I got everything right for the show because I was going to bring it up, right? And then they said what the Indian tribe said, and I was drinking coffee, and I literally spit it out. I just started laughing. And then on top of that, there's a attorney's office that will evict her on behalf of the tribe for free.
Yeah, representing the tribe for free.
And you just can't make this up.
Well, and I don't, you know, is this just going to be a case of nuisance because of she said that? Or can they really evict her based on her comment that she's living on stolen land?
I don't know. I'm not an attorney.
Yeah, I don't know either. Steve, your comments?
Well, I'm of the Bill Maher camp in this. And, you know, it raises the question, what is the cause du jour for a lot of these celebrities? I think it is self-aggrandizing. I think that it only hurts. It only hurts the real issues involved because it's coming, as Dorsey said, it's coming from people from these high towers who are so divorced from any of the consequences of what they're preaching that it's just laughable. I'm all for people being able to use their free speech. I tend to think it hurts them in the long run. I think there are ways to do it other than doing it up on a stage where they should be, thanking anybody who buys their stuff or appreciates what they do for a living. But these pedestals they put themselves on, coming from wealthy, enclaved communities, it defeats their. I think it defeats their mission.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Larry,
And I think that Indian response just kind of slaps her right back in the face, and it comes from just not thinking through what you're doing.
well, and this is where I kind of join your thing, Dorsey, that I don't leave my Christianity at the door, but I'm going to repent for this after I say it. I hope she loses her house. I really hope that what she said she lived on stolen land. Well, they found the owner of the land.
And they want it back.
So that makes me kind of a poop. I know that. Frank, let's jump to you and then wrap up with Larry on this topic.
Well, when God led his people out of Egypt, he brought them into a promised land and gave them wells already dug, houses already built, and vineyards already planted. And my conviction is the United States of America was prophesied in Revelation 13. Some people can argue that, but I'm convicted of it. I don't know how you give something or how you steal something from somebody that God planned all along. Now, did we treat the Native Americans right? No. Did we have slavery in our closet as a black mark on us? Yes. Not saying we've done everything right in the United States of America, but the idea that some Americans hold that the founding of this country is somehow illegal and immoral is ridiculous. So there's my flag.
Well, I thought it was interesting. Once again, I go back to Buck and Clay. The day after that, their term was not stolen land, but conquered land.
Mm-hmm.
That this was a land that America, as the United States, had conquered over many, many centuries of other people living here. So, Larry, I always love to hear what you have to say on this.
Well, Mac, I've had a relationship with many in the Meskwaki Nation since the mid '80s, and I can tell you unequivocally that yes, they were absolutely mistreated, and it's a crying shame. However, the Native Americans, Indians, whatever you want to call them, they really don't care what you call them, by the way.
Right.
These people lived by a single rule back in that time. When the Europeans came over to the United or to America, they lived by the same rules that the natives lived by at that time, and that is take what you're strong enough to take, keep what you're strong enough to keep. Those were the rules.
Yep.
When one tribe would run the assets out of an area, if they could get another area, that's fine. But if they couldn't, they'd invade another tribe in their area and conquer them and take their land and their assets and enslave their people in a lot of cases. The Indians were actually the first slave owners, in North America. So they would frequently hunt an area almost to extinction and then simply move to another area because there was room. But the idea that they were conquered, and that's some say that they will never admit that, and they're very proud people. Many still live on the reservations, on the settlements, keep their ancestry alive. The Meskwakis are a prime example of that. In the mid 80s or mid 1800s, during the Trail of Tears, the Meskwaki actually petitioned the Iowa governor at that time, Governor Grimes, to buy the land that they're presently on over in Tama. So instead of going to a federal reservation, they bought the land. And it gives them a lot of rights that some of the other settlements don't. They can't expand as they buy land around them. So I love to kid around because of the casinos and, of course, the Indian casinos and such. So I always kid around with them as well that they're still scalping Americans, but now they're just scalping their wallets.
Yeah.
For the casinos.
Yeah.
So, and I love the people. I really do. I know what they've gone through. I've listened, and the tales are absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that they've persevered as well as they have in a lot of cases, not all.
When I was on the radio in Des Moines, I got invited up to the Meskwaki tribe annual meeting or whatever. To the what powwow. That's right. It was a powwow.
Yep.
And made good friends with a man there who's now passed along. But it's kind of like that commercial where the Indians tear fell because of all the things that was going on. This man had stories to just because he had lived it. You know, back then, this was the late 80s, early 90s, and I think he was 80 at that point. So now he's long gone. But all right.
One small comment there.
Sure.
This is the same gal that several months ago said something about she was slamming billionaires and how vulgar and whatever. She was particularly, I think she was aiming at Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
And you look how much money she's worth and the amount of money of the place she lives in. Anytime any of these people feel guilty, they can donate to the government and pay down on the national debt, or step up and liquidate their house and liquidate their belongings and give to the poor, whatever they want to do. I mean, you lead by example. You set the example for everybody else. If you want the rich to follow you, step up and liquidate what you own and divvy it out to somebody else and say, follow me.
Yep. All right. Next topic. And I think your Bill Gates written down had something to do with the Epstein files.
Yes.
And then the Clintons. So we'll kind of put all three of that together for this topic.
Sure.
So Epstein files concerning the Clintons now wanting public hearings on the Epstein files, and Bill Gates getting caught in the middle of that. Go ahead.
Well, I'm still struggling with the fact that people are still trying to put Trump in this.
Yeah, he's not.
And, my frustration with this whole situation is, number one, the previous administration had this information, and if Trump actually had anything to do with any of this, they would have outed it in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, especially when he was running against Hillary.
Right. Number two, I have never been a fan of Bill Gates, and he has been put in the middle of some pretty bad stuff. Up to the point of where he was going to he needed advice on how to put medication in his wife's food or water because he contracted an STD and didn't want to tell her. And I saw an interview with her after this stuff was released.
Yeah.
And, having been in a situation where I had to end my marriage because of things that were on the up and up, it broke my heart, because you just can't even imagine what that looks like.
Well, and I thought she really handled it classy.
I did too. I thought she did very well.
She didn't give I don't have any idea, and I wasn't aware of anything. But she also didn't spread the dirt around. But she knew.
Yeah, she
what
knew
was going on.
Yeah, and she probably was trying to help him not participate in that behavior. I mean, men who normally participate in that behavior, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
And, and you view it as that, and you stay with your spouse, and you try to be part of the solution, and because you don't leave somebody because they're sick, right? But you do get to a point in time where you have to, because it's going to start, you're going to start having issues.
Now, what do you think about, I'll keep this with you, and then I'll go to you, Steve. What do you think about this Clintons wanting all these grand jury testimonies done live so the public can hear them.
I hadn't heard that, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
originally they were subpoenaed, and
Yeah.
then they said they weren't going to come.
Right.
But Hillary did come in this week, and she said she wanted all these hearings to be public knowledge.
Well, knowing how that person works, she probably wants people to hear presented in a court of law allegedness stuff. You know how people hear, well, I heard this.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily true, but now it's out in the public, and now the onus is on you to disprove it.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what that's about.
Steve, going to you.
Well, on that particular topic, I think what the Congressional Committee is trying to do is going to try and catch them in some sort of a misstep in what they may have said before. But I think Bill and Hillary Clinton, they're very smart. They're not going to say anything. I don't think that that's going to contradict what they've said in the past. So I think that's why the Clintons want this public. They say, all right, bring it. If you're going to do it, let's let everybody know. I think that's a political maneuver. In regard to the Epstein files in general, I don't think this is a political thing. I think it's a class thing. I think it shows how rich people think that they are somehow immune or protected because of their wealth. And I think it's going to come back to bite them in the butt, whether it's rich people on the left, rich people on the right. I think that there's going to be a comeuppance here. I think there's going to be a reckoning that your money cannot insulate you. If you do bad things, regardless of party, just because you're rich, you ain't going to get away with it.
And I would like to say this to you specifically, Steve. If Trump has done any of this stuff, and they can prove it, he needs to go to jail. And I want him out of the presidency.
Right, and I think most intelligent, thoughtful people would agree with that.
I would
That's
agree.
why it would be imprudent for the Democrats to really make this a thing to go after Trump. They just need to go after people who have done bad things. If Trump's there, okay. If he's not, that's not what the investigation was about in the first place. It's about doing the right thing.
Especially in trafficking underage women.
Yes.
That's
boys and girls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Larry, let's hear some wisdom from you, and then we'll wrap this up with Frank.
Well, Bill Gates, everybody loves to hate rich people. And Bill, up until Elon, was one of the richest people in the world, and he's kind of overshadowed so badly by Elon. But Gates, to say he had a controversial relationship with Epstein is, yes, okay, let's leave it at that. But Gates started meeting Epstein well after his conviction of soliciting an underage girl. And that was in 2011 when Gates first met Epstein, he says, in New York City. And he met him a couple times after that. And I guess I believe that Gates was probably a philanderer. He was one of those, as Steve had mentioned, that had so much money he thought he was insulated from, the law and from morality and ethics. And who may have had problems at home, who knows? They do. But there doesn't seem to be, somebody said he's been to Epstein Island 37 times. That's not proven. And it's not in any of the flight logs that, go with all of the flights on his Lolita Express. So I don't think he actually went to Epstein Island, unless he did it on his own jet, which again is possible, which we wouldn't have flight logs for. But I think everybody loves to hate him, and I dislike him because, again, I don't like his part of COVID and the vaccine and his dabbling in medicine and pharmaceuticals
and food.
So, and food as well. So there's a lot to dislike about Bill Gates, but and yeah, he did get advice on how to slip antibiotics into his wife's food,
Oh,
which shows
I did
a
not know
minor
that.
Yeah.
discretion. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot to dislike about Bill Gates in particular. As far as the Clintons have always been very well rehearsed. They're incredibly smart people, but Bill isn't the bright light that he once was. Hillary, I think, is so angry that she could easily say something that convicted her. But most importantly, I think they're going to be claiming the fifth, or as in Hillary's deposition before, repeating "I don't know" over 100 times,
Yeah.
or "I don't recall" over 100 times. So it's going to be very hard to. They're like a cockroach. They're going to be very difficult to get rid of.
Frank, last word.
Well, the Clintons want to turn, particularly Hillary. Bill doesn't have any part of this, but Hillary wants to turn this into a media circus. She wants to have another "can't we just move on? What difference does it make now?" moment. As far as Alan Dershowitz said he was the lawyer for Epstein. To try to get Epstein a better deal, he asked Epstein point blank who he had, anybody he had that he could cut him a better deal if he could sing on somebody. He asked him particularly about Trump, and Epstein said no. The other thing about there's something reference into the dog that will bark or the dog that won't bark, and that was explained last night that they thought if anybody would bark on Epstein, it would be Trump. So distance him because he knows stuff and he could bark on us. And I would say the situation with Bill and Melinda Gates, she threw both the Billies under the bus this week by coming out highly critical of Bill Clinton and then throwing Bill Gates, the second Billy, under the bus also. So I think that's pretty damning on her. But the Kimberly Giuffre has basically said Trump was a perfect gentleman. Ghislaine Maxwell has said Trump had no part of it. Dershowitz said he had no part of it. And so pretty much, Trump, in my opinion, has been given a clean bill of health by the individual particulars. But they want to turn it into a media circus is the goal. Because if you go behind closed doors, all that stuff's private. You don't get to showboat. You don't get to posture. You don't get to pose in public. And so that's the reason why they want it in public.
Well, Frank, you just helped me coin a new phrase. When we had Watergate, everything became something gate. So
Right.
I think this should be the T-Bub gate, throwing Billy under the bus. All right, now.
Hey, can I
Yeah.
just say one more quick thing?
Please.
The one concern I do have is the fact that when the DOJ was semi-autonomous, kind of you didn't have what you have now with presidents really controlling Department of Justice moves on this. And my concern is with the redactions and Trump's oversight of DOJ and control of what's going on there. I do have concerns that some of the redactions may be politically motivated, which is a concern for me. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and Steve, I'm kind of with you on that too.
I agree.
If we were to ever find out that there are redactions made for political reason, either to protect someone or to protect him, I want to know that if that's the case. Otherwise, to be honest with you, I just want this Epstein thing to go to court for the victims.
I do too.
And everything else, let's leave it alone. All right.
I'd like to. Can I make one thing here? When the government redacts information, it is redacted in copies. It is not redacted in the original documents.
Right.
And there's always somebody that knows what's under that redaction.
Yeah.
So, and multiple somebodies. And in order to keep a secret like that, secret from as many people that have access to those documents, processed them, the whole 9 yards, would be almost impossible. So, while redactions keep X amount of people from seeing it, there are so many people that have seen it that, it's like the moon landing was a hoax. Too many people were involved with that, literally tens of thousands of people. Not something you could keep a secret.
Yeah.
Well, by the same token, we're still talking about possible conspiracy theories related to the Kennedy assassination, and the reason that happens is because not everything has seen the light of day, and as long as you keep things secret, you're going to have that continual conspiracy motivation that keeps coming to the surface. So again, transparency for me is key on the whole thing.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree. All right, we're going to tie three topics together here. One is the de-escalation in Minnesota. The link that I gave you, Larry, that you put on Point Counterpoint chat room about the pastor in, I think it's the southern United States, who did a deep dive. And by the way, this guy is really, he's very respected in the circles. And he did a deep dive on about a half a dozen things that they that somebody tried to say wasn't what it was. Or somebody tried to say, oh, no, this is what really happened. When you watch the video and you went, no, that's not what happened. And so, anyway, that's where I want to go next. And, Steve, I'll start with you on the de-escalation of over, 700 ICE agents now going home or going somewhere else in Minnesota?
Well, I think it became political hot potato for the Trump administration. I think it's a great move. Again, I am in complete agreement that we need to extricate criminals who are illegally in this country. And it needs to be a lot more surgical than what the administration has been doing. Trump, by his very nature, tends to be very chest beating. I'm coming in, we're taking over. And it just went too far, and we saw that with the sad deaths of some of the citizens of Minneapolis. So I think it's a good move. I think Trump needs to be surgical on this, and if Tom Homan can get that done, that's great. De-escalate, still do what you need to do, but not do it in a way that is going to rile up the public and do something other than what you were there to do in the first place.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Steve. And I hope that the attitude or position that Trump is taking on this in Minnesota now, I hope that remains the attitude that he has in other places that ICE goes. I like this Trump. This is the guy I voted for, that when somebody tells him something and he respects that person, he sits down and shuts up. And that I'm happy about on this, but I don't know how long it'll last. How about minors, Steve? How about minors? Like we saw this in Fremont, Nebraska, which is just north of Omaha.
And that made national news, by the way.
And it made national news. So what are your thoughts on that for some of these kids who are, some of these minors who are in high school are choosing to protest? Because it happened here in Omaha, I think, at Millard North or Millard South?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the title of the topic today kind of concerned me as far as encouraging kids to do this. From what I've read, the vast majority of these are student, excuse me, they're started by the students.
No, they're not.
Well, that's not.
The one in Fremont.
How that happened.
The one in Fremont. The administration had a conversation with the kids and allowed them to do it without parental consent. Now, I don't know about the other ones that have happened here in Omaha, but, and I believe they're working on firing that principal for allowing it.
Yeah, up in Fremont.
Yeah, because there was no parental consent. He actually allowed them to leave school grounds. And the parents send their kids to these people to be monitored and taken care of. And the administration doesn't have any kind of control over these children once they leave school grounds. And so, to me, the administrators should go to jail for this.
All right, Frank, I'm
Well,
going to
I
come to
can't-
you. Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry.
I'm
Steve.
sorry, Steve, I cut you off too. I'm so sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead,
no,
Steve.
I can't speak directly to Fremont or the Omaha area. And if administrators are behind it, yes, there are things that can administratively be done to them, perhaps suspensions or even losing their jobs. So that would be on a case-by-case basis, obviously. As far as the student run things, students are going to do that from time to time. That's the nature of kids, and that's the nature of protest. And they'll have to be responsible for the ramifications of that, whether it's being suspensions or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. All right, Larry. Larry.
Are you muted, Larry?
Larry.
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was blowing my nose.
Okay.
Well, thank God you muted. So what's your thought on this?
I'm sure there are some high school kids that maybe sat down after talking to their parents or after being brainwashed, said, well, let's go protest this. What I'm more concerned about, those are a concern, especially if the school is in some way culpable for letting them out of class and allowing them to leave school grounds without parental consent. But the ones that concern me more are the people bringing young children to protests and such. And and then say, well, I'm afraid they're going to be tear gassed. Well, why did you bring them? This is unconscionable to me. Or I didn't have a babysitter. So I brought my kid to a protest where violence is likely to spread.
Well, and that's one of the things that this Josh Howerton, this Pastor Howerton, exposed, that there were a couple of instances where people who were involved in protesting ICE and became issues because of their aggressive nature had a baby or a child sitting in their car for an hour. And apparently one of those children was even exposed to tear gas or pepper spray or whatever. So
Pepper spray,
yeah.
We don't use mace anymore. Mace is actually a military chemical. They use oleocapsicum.
So I need to get rid of all those grenades I have in my car that have mace in them?
Oh, no, hang on to those. They're worth a fortune on the black market.
Okay.
But I'll take them off your hands. But the thing is, and Trump's hand has lightened up, but Trump went in with shock and awe. And, I don't know that was a bad tactical play. And now he can back off, and it shows him being more not passive, but less
showing
aggressive.
more restraint.
Yeah, but the thing is, the illegal immigrants are criminals. Okay, and I'm sorry if anybody feels differently on that, but when somebody comes into the country illegally, they've already broken federal law. Then when they're here, if they plan on working, they have to get a Social Security number or an ID of some type against the Social Security number, which means they've committed identity fraud.
Yep.
Then they continue to do that by getting bank accounts, driver's licenses, utilities, credit cards, library cards, and everything else. And then every week when they take their paycheck and put it in that bank account, they're committing financial identity fraud again and again. So if any of us committed a dozen financial crimes and identity crimes a month or a week, they'd throw us in jail.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry, but by definition, they are criminals. And if you have, a murderer, rapist, convicted, deportation orders, driving a car and he's stopped, you can't ignore the other 3 illegal immigrants in the car with him. You can't just say, well, we're not after you. It doesn't work that way. So they have to do something at that point. So I'm sorry, but I don't see anything from the protesters' side other than that they're illegally interfering with an officer and obstructing. And Trump now has taken a lot of officers out. He's going to a more passive look. If you interfere with us, we will arrest you. And I think they've got tacit approval from the governor, who knows he didn't have much other choice, to allow the local PD to buffer between the two groups. And that should solve a lot of problems. They should have done that long before. The other thing, and I'm going to make this quick, the other thing is in states where the law enforcement local agencies interact with federal law enforcement, when they get somebody in their prison system or in their legal system that is an illegal immigrant, they will notify the federal authorities. They will they will agree with the detainers that are on hand, and that means it stays out of the public. It stays in the courthouse, it stays in the jail, and that reduces the public concerns.
So okay, so
Go ahead.
I disagree with you guys.
Okay.
Can I get 2 points real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, and then Dorsey gets to disagree.
One thing I thought was kind of amusing this week, I saw that some people in these residential neighborhoods were putting up barricades and stuff to keep ICE out. And somebody made the point that they do believe in borders. They just don't want to. Police our southern border. I think Steve and Larry will both enjoy this. Nobody's going to get any further to the right on me on the topic of abortion. I would have it in the back alley. I would arrest everybody in that alley, including the woman, the doctor, the boyfriend, the husband, the nurse, the dog licking up the afterbirth. But neither am I going to go out illegally and chain myself to an entrance to an abortion clinic to stop someone from exercising their right to do something I think is kind of silly. I can swing my fist wildly in the air, but my right to do that stops where your nose starts. So I can't interfere with somebody else's rights and interfere and obstruct because I don't like the law of the land. I vote and change the law of the land. I protest peacefully. It doesn't turn into uncivil protest. Holding a sign on a sidewalk, chanting, praying, this is peaceful stuff. When you're getting in front of cars, when you're stopping commerce, when you're trying to stop someone on a college campus from getting to their classes, from getting to the library, getting to the cafeteria, this is when peaceful turns into unpeaceful, uncivil protest.
Yeah.
And what's going on in Minneapolis is just flat out uncivil, and you need to, if you don't like ICE, get to your Congress, vote in 2026, get the laws changed, dismantle ICE, whatever you want to do. But as long as it's the law of the land to deport illegal immigrants with deportation orders, these people need thrown in jail.
All right, Dorsey, your disagreement.
So my disagreement is I think that Trump backed down. And I don't think it shows a very good face.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why I say that is because, in my view, with all of the demonstrations and the things that they've been doing, it just reminds me of a child throwing a tantrum. And to me, they won on this. And, you know, when I was being raised and coming up, and I'm sure you guys were told the same thing because we're all about the same generation, is how our parents used to warn us about how associations can get you in trouble.
Yep.
Right? So if you choose to run around with an illegal alien, whether it's a cousin, an uncle, or whatever, and you're illegal and you get caught, oh well. Because if you had been doing what you were supposed to be doing and keeping a better set of people, insofar as when I say better set of people,
Yeah.
I'm talking about their status, not that they are good people or bad people. You get caught up in this stuff, I mean, it happens to people all the time. They're running around on the streets with friends that are robbing people, and then they get caught, and they're caught in the crossfire, or they get shot, or they get arrested, or whatever. You have to pick who you're going to be running with. And to Larry's point, um, people would be angry if ICE was picking and choosing who they were going to take and who they weren't going to take.
Yeah.
You know, they'd be called racist, for that. So I I get the fact that Human is there and he's doing whatever he needs to do in order to do this, but I am not happy about this, because my attitude is that everybody that is on that line, everybody that's been in the street, everybody who has stepped in front of a car, who has physically put their hands on these folks should be in jail.
Well, and I would encourage you to either look at the video that I posted on all of my sites, or just go to YouTube, and it's Josh Howerton, HOWERTON. His podcast webcast is called Living Free. And the individual link that I put on the Facebook and the YouTube and everything, you really need, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, we need people who do this, no matter what side of the aisle they're on. We need people who have no skin in the game. Go back and look at some of these things that one side says over the other, and show what the facts are. Because truth is truth. And sometimes we just have to trust, and I trust Josh Howerton, that he doesn't have any skin in the game. He's just doing what a good pastor would do, and a good American, a good patriot. I think he's a vet. By just saying, hey, somebody said this, that's not right, and here's the proof. So I would encourage people to look at that. All right, one more thing before we get done. Let me see here. Patriots or Seahawks?
I'm not watching the Super Bowl.
You're not watching it?
Nope.
Because of Bunny? Bad Bunny?
And some of what I feel is politically introduced calls that called those two teams to be playing. I don't believe that either one of them should be playing.
Wow, you're into football more than I am. I wasn't aware of anything like that.
Yeah.
All right, how about you there, Stephen? Any choice, or do you want to stay out of the mess because of the refs? Ooh, I think I just
Two
rhymed.
reasons I'm going for Seattle, baby. Number one, New England has been there and won it too many times. And number two, the Seattle quarterback, former Viking. I'm a Vikings fan, and I want the Vikings to have to suffer a little bit because of their decision to get rid of him last year. So, and the NFC. So go Seattle.
All right, let me ask you this question, and I'll ask everybody this, but I'll come back to you, Dorsey. Which Super Bowl halftime, if you watch one, will you watch? Turning Point or Bad Rabbit, or whatever his name is, Bad Bunny?
Oh, you're gonna put me throw me down that bunny hole. Bad Bunny is very popular. He's probably one of the most popular entertainers in the world right now. So that's one of the reasons that I think that the NFL decided to go for him. I don't know his music. I don't know if I care for it. I haven't listened to it very much because I'm an old guy. I'll probably go back and forth just to see what's more entertaining at the time.
Yeah. Well, the good news is they'll both be recorded, and we'll all be able to watch it at our own convenience at some point.
Well, my fear is I haven't watched the Super Bowl halftime show for years and years and years and years, because I am legitimately nervous about those shows. I happen to be sitting with my grandchildren with the Janet Jackson malfunction.
Oh.
Okay. And some of those other people that have shown up, it's just, if I can't watch a show with my grandchildren and not have to worry about what's going to show up, I don't do it.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Frank, your thought?
Well, since I've seen every Super Bowl, starting with the Chiefs and the Packers, I can remember when the halftime show was probably like a high school marching band.
Yeah.
Like those days. I'm like Dorsey. I haven't watched a halftime show probably, even if I watch the Super Bowl, I haven't watched one for 20 years. But being a old AFL fan going back to the Joe Willie Namath days, I would probably lean towards the Patriots just based on the fact that they are, one of the original AFL representatives. But if Seattle wins, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it either. So,
all right, Larry, how about you?
Well, I don't. I'm not a big football fan. There aren't enough home runs in it for me. But the last time I could remember watching anything even remotely associated with the Super Bowl was the Budweiser commercials.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
With the frogs.
Yeah.
And dancing raisins and other things like that. So.
But those are the commercials, man. That's not the halftime.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'd watch it.
Have you seen the new Bud commercial with the Clydesdale and the Eagle?
No.
No.
Unbelievable. Look it up. It is an incredible commercial.
Okay.
Very patriotic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else got anything to add? We've got about 2 minutes left. I want to thank you guys all for being here.
Who's your pick?
Nebraska.
I'm kind of the opposite of you, Steve. I want to see the Patriots win. I mean, they lost their coach, they lost their quarterback, and here they've come back in 2 years and rebuilt the team. I look at football a lot of times through the owner's eyes as a business owner. And so what Mr. Kraft has done there has truly built an organization that no matter who the players are on the field, they're a contender. But like Frank said, if the Seahawks win, that's great to me too. I just want a good game. That's all I want. I don't want a blowout.
One quick thing I would say, the original Super Bowl V was played on January the 17th. Okay, we didn't get the college number one till the 19th of January, and we're pushing a Super Bowl into February the 8th. When is it time for these sports to kind of exit stage left and get off the stage? I mean, they're playing World Series is in November, probably have the NBA into July. It's just time for football to get off the stage.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Cosell. We appreciate that, Frank.
We got the Winter Olympics coming up, so we got the Winter Olympics competing with the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, kids, we will see you all next week. As always, I'm so honored and humbled to be with you guys doing this show every week. I think we are doing something that's important, and that is having these conversations without calling names and bringing ugly things into the conversation. And blessings to all of you for being a part of this.
Always enjoy talking with you all.
All right. We'll see you later.
Great.
I do want to thank you for taking the time to listen to Point Counterpoint today. This is on the Webcast One Live network. And I want to thank our worldwide sponsor, DivineTruthChristianStore.com. Whatever you want, whenever you want it, go. It's family owned. DivineTruthChristianStore.com. And thanks for listening to Point Counterpoint.